Greetings, comrades. I don't know if I've apologised yet in my previous videos, but yes, I am back to using the shitty, out of sync webcam. A second apology, I really look like shit today. I wasn't supposed to be working, but my best friend who also works where I work came over with migraine, so I was woken at 6:30 in the morning, kind of by surprise, and so I hadn't had time to sort out my shit because I was up all night watching TV. Anyway, I'm doing yet another video on let's call it the Occupy movement, the various occupations, and you know I feel this is a general problem which you know, it can happen anywhere where these movements are getting big and are to be expected. And that is, when you have a movement that's very big, that's kind of based around, you know, kind of open democracy and openness, you're going to get people who are a part of the establishment trying to hijack the movement, to join in, to try and absorb what is an independent movement against the establishment into the establishment. A good example of this is I just read an article that a group called Move On, who they basically seem to be some kind of basically, you know, they're described as a front organisation for Obama, so I assume they kind of, they're like a kind of liberal think tank, but they back Obama to the hilt, they back the establishment, and they've decided they're going to support the, and try and support this movement. Now, wherever this movement happens, there's going to be a national character to it, depending on the circumstances of the people, of the working people in the country. For example, watching Comrade Dina's videos of Occupy Boston, there's a lot of talk about the debt these people have somehow accumulated towards, you know, government, universities, or whatever, you know, kind of taxes. Now, this is different from the problems that people here in Britain are facing, and I think across much of Europe as well. You know, the problems here seem to be, you know, austerity, not enough jobs, and therefore kind of just poverty, not access to education, which, you know, of course people in America have as well. But the debt aspect doesn't seem to be such a problem. So, yeah, every kind of, wherever this brings up is going to have a national character. And therefore you're going to have people jumping in on this. I mean, kind of what worries me, and I don't, judging the kind of the Facebook forum of the Occupy London group, I don't think it would be a problem, judging by the kinds of people who are trying to get involved. You know, I'd hate to see this kind of amalgamated into some kind of far-right bullshit. Now, some of you who aren't, shall I say, kind of followers of my channel, or kind of people who don't have the same beliefs as me, are will rightly sort of, you know, think, hey, you know, he's kind of being a bit hypocritical. He's saying that, well, all these kind of, you know, establishment groups are trying to hijack the movement, but he's talking about spreading ideas of anti-capitalism and socialism amongst people. Aren't you trying to do the same thing? I suppose, in a way, you know, it's kind of true. But, you know, I'm one person, and when I go down to these events, I'm not really that active in any particular group, I'll say. You know, most of my kind of political work at the moment, working full time, does go into this channel. So, you know, I'm going there as an individual. I'm going to spread my ideas and as an individual. Um, and you know, I think all Marxists should take the difficult step. We should spread our ideas. You know, talk to people, discuss our opinions and things. But this is a movement of self-organisation. Of you know, it's an independent movement. It's the independent action of the working class. And while we should promote our ideas and spread them on an individual basis, um, it's going to evolve how it's going to evolve. You know, if we go down there as ourselves, if I go down there as, you know, just death, you know, talking to other individuals, spreading my ideas, people will accept it or reject it. You know, they'll be discussed, they'll be churned through. If a large kind of, for example, if a large front organisation, say like this Move On for the Obama, for the US government, for the establishment, if they come in big numbers, joining in, they could swamp this movement. And they won't be going there just as an individual, they'll be going there as a group. Now, it's good, I think, that unions are supporting it, and it's, you know, it's good when a group voices support and shows solidarity with the movement. But what I think is the significant aspect of what's really going on is it's a lot of people sort of waking up and saying, you know, the current political system, you know, just the general system of decision making, basically, is wrong. So let's create a new decision making system through a democratic decision making system, basically. And I think that's the precious element of it. I think that's the kernel of, you know, the real kind of revolutionary aspect of it. I mean, there's a reason why, you know, the people in Greece and the people in Spain called it real democracy now. You know, to create a different form of democracy. I mean, yeah, we can discuss capitalism versus socialism, but for me, you know, when I think of how I'd like to see my ideology, you know, in basic terms, I'm all about kind of moving the goalposts. We have, you know, more democracy around a different kind of economy, basically. And that's, you know, that's how I like to describe moving the goalposts, moving the frame, changing the framework in which we interact with each other, within which we manage the economy and all these other things, basically. You know, that warrants its own video. But yeah, that's why, you know, I feel there is, you know, this is a good movement and we should see where it goes and we should see what happens. And we should promote our ideas as individuals. And, you know, also, I hope that the people will be sensible enough that, you know, if all these people kind of swamp in, you know, if they're carrying their flags or something, or if they're carrying their organisation badges or t-shirts, that, you know, people have the good sense to kind of stay strong and reject it. You know, reject the idea of a movement being hijacked and taken over, and keep it fluid. And it's, you know, it's difficult. These things happen. You know, sometimes they fail. But it's something you've got to look out for. And if you see it, you know, call the person up on their bullshit. You know, if someone comes in saying, oh, you should support this group, you know. I mean, talking in generalisations is okay. Like, I will say, you know, support the unions. I'm very critical of the unions we have in this country for various reasons, mostly for their leadership. But it's all, you know, it's all worth considering. So I guess, you know, the real message I have is, you know, go down there as an individual, stay down there as an individual, and don't let this movement be absorbed into the establishment, because you only get, you know, it's like when you've got I don't know, like Andy Warhol or something. He comes in, but, you know, all the hangers on, all the kind of the posers, you know, want to come in and kind of rub themselves against it. And that's kind of what we're getting. I mean, we've got Alex Jones, he's in there saying, Occupy the Fed. Which, yeah, you know, kind of fair enough. a better example. It's like back in the early '90s, Nirvana, Soundgarden, grunge. Suddenly, plaid shirts and torn jeans were kind of high street fashion, and that's, this whole thing in the era of commercialism. They will try and commercialize what's going on in Wall Street, what's going on in Boston, and what's soon to be going on in London. And that's what we can't allow. That's what I'm saying. You know, it's not about making kind of rebellion chic. It's about trying to actually really do something. So, you got to call people out who are posers or who are trying to hijack the movement. And it is something I'm concerned about, because it would be such a shame to see what is such a massive explosion of creativity and action from people be wasted by being absorbed into the very system that we are all, in our own way, with our own vision of what it should be, but we are all fighting against it. And we cannot let it be absorbed. It's got to be independent. It's got to remain a rebellion. Anyway, people I'm staying with are back, so I'm going to cut this short now, but just dwell on these thoughts and keep your eyes open. I hope to see you all on the 15th. Bye. Red salutes.